तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste, dear friends. In this video, I will explain a removal of misery by the knowledge of Brahma, the ultimate reality. Brahma Vidya, Brahma Jnana, Brahmatma Jnana, Atmaikatva Vidya, all these terms are synonyms. This knowledge or cognition extends up to intuitive experience of pure consciousness, avagati. It is that which culminates in intuitive experience, anubhava, here and now. The scriptures say if Brahma, that is the ultimate reality, is known, the paramount goal of human existence, that is Purusartha, accrues. If Atma is known, the note of the heart, Hirda Granthi, that is Avidya, is destroyed. But there are not three entities like Brahma, that is the ultimate reality, the one who cognizes it, and the attainment of that reality. Neither there are three distinct phenomena like the cognizer, the instrument, or valid means of cognition, and the cognized Brahma, the ultimate reality. It may appear to be so from the interpretation of the scriptural sentences or by the process of sublation. It may seem to be like that to the Jnani also. Although the reflection appearing in a mirror may seem to be in the manner, it is so far away from the mirror, hence I am also that much distance away from the mirror. The real situation need not be according to that appearance alone. The difference that exists between Atma Jnana, that is self knowledge, and Atma Ajnana, that is the knowledge of non self, has already been reckoned in the knowledge of Anatman, the division of the type, the knower, jnana through the valid means of knowledge, jnana, and the object of knowledge, jnanaya, exist. However, in Atma Jnana, it is not so. Everything is one unitary or plenary intuitive experience alone. There is no rule of law or regulation that all the knowledge that accrues from the scriptural text should be initiatory or prompting in its import. The knowledge that accrues from the sentences in the Karma Kanda prompts a person into any one particular type of karma, that is ritual or rite, or relieve him from a particular kind of karma. Those qualified or fit persons who have a deep seated obstinate identification of the type I am a doer, I am an enjoyer, indulge in karmas. There is no restriction whatsoever that in those scriptural sentences the commanding or compelling forms of verbs like do this karma alone should exist, even if it is stated in the manner for such and such as karma, such and such a fruit accrues. The person who has a desire or hankering for such a fruit alone will indulge in or will be motivated to do such an action without fail. All of us might have heard the story written in the Panchatantra of a Brahmin who, being very greedy, heard the statement of an old tiger which yelled out in the manner, I will give in charity this bracelet to anyone, and who, believing that statement, went in that direction, and then on the way his leg slipped and he fell in loose sand and got stuck. We all know very well that avarice induces a person into action or karma. Hence, the sentences of the Karma Kanda too are not really initiatory or prompting or compelling in their import. They merely indicate to those who have agreed for a particular fruit or result in the manner. For such and such a fruit, such and such karma is the device or stratagem. Those who have an innate greed for a particular fruit naturally perform the respective or relevant karma in order to obtain that fruit. That is all. In that case, what about the Vedantic Upanishadic sentences found in the Jnana Kanda? How are they to be interpreted or understood? To these questions, the answer is when their knowledge accrues, one does get prompted or motivated towards either pravritti or nivritti. He exists unto himself. That is all. For that reason alone, the scripture is expounding in the manner when the Supreme Self, that is Paramatman, is cognized. The note of the heart, Hridaya Granthi, which goes by the name of Ajnana in the Vedantic parlance, is destroyed. Doubts disappear, all the karmas are destroyed. The note which ties up Atman self with the mind, the senses, and the objects is itself the Hridaya Granthi. By this alone we get kama, that is desires, karmas, that is actions, and consequently a hindrance, as it were, is caused for our self-knowledge. For the attainment of self-knowledge is the untying of this note, that is removal of this hindrance, which avidya or ajnana of the nature of misconception alone is the hallmark. In reality, in Atman, there does not exist cogniz- cognizership, that is Paramattva. Therefore, he is Atma or the Self is neither of the nature of indulging in anything whatsoever, nor of the nature of giving up or receding from anything whatsoever. Atma of the essential nature of absolute being consciousness bliss cannot either be given up or acquired afresh. To those who ask the question, what should be done to attain Brahmajnana, that is self-knowledge, an answer can be given with the help of an illustration. What should be done to get sleep? If you make an attempt so as to get sleep, then can it come? Doing nothing alone, keeping quiet, receding unto oneself within alone is the device for getting sleep. This is also in the experience of every one of us. In the same way, the knowledge of a Brahman or Anatman, that is a Brahman or Anatman, that is the empirical knowledge of the type I am, the essential nature of something other than Brahma, absolute being, consciousness, bliss, should be sublated or given up. Merely by this means Brahmajnana, self-knowledge, accrues, just as without lifting the fit one cannot swim in water. In the same way, without giving up the meditation or contemplation upon the external objects, the self-knowledge does never accrue. Really speaking, even while we perform our routine actions like seeing, tasting, smelling, etc., we exist in our essential nature of pure being, consciousness, bliss alone. Listen to what the scripture is saying in this regard. That essential nature of pure consciousness, that is intuitive experience by which alone form, taste, smell, sound, through contact with the object, the perception of pleasure, happiness are all cognized, and that by which any phenomena or things which cannot be cognized do not remain in the list. That entity, reality alone, is the ultimate reality of Paramatman, that is Supreme Self. In all the mundane actions or transactions of our external senses and the internal instrument of the mind, this Atma, self of the essential nature of Anubhava, that is pure absolute being, consciousness or intuitive experience, has pervaded or permeated, so to speak, by the strength of that intuitive experience or pure consciousness alone we are cognizing the objects. Just as by means of the sun's light alone people cognize or know everything and are carrying out all their routine transactions, similarly, by means of the light of the nature of pure consciousness of Atman, that is self, alone we are all knowing or cognizing everything. As per the Gita statement, that Atam Chaitanya or pure consciousness of the self by which everything is pervaded, in order to cognize or know that which separate effort can there at all be needed. It is sufficient if we exist or keep quiet within ourselves. That is our real being. That is all. So much alone is enough. Therefore, the meditation or contemplation upon external objects or even concepts totally extraneous or alien to our essential nature of pure conscious, consciousness should necessarily be given up. To wit, we should give up consciously our innate identification with our senses as it exists involuntarily and recede within. Withdraw the mind inward stage by stage. If this mixing or blending of the senses with the external objects on the one hand and of the mind with the senses and their sensations on the other vanishes, then alone we can remain established in the pure consciousness, that is intuitive experience of Atma, which alone is the substrate or the reality of all existence. What is meant by expression introverting the mind? What is meant by withdrawing the senses? The real significance or import of these expressions in the above context is leave the external objects outside alone, do not get associated with or involved in their contemplation in your mind. You stand aloof with all equipoise in yourself. This alone is Atam Jnana, that is self knowledge. The subtle meaning of the statement I got established or I stood still in myself should be fully and clearly understood, discerned. For all of us being Paramatru's cognizers, like the Bilingist or Divbhasis have undertaken or assumed the external empirical dealings on the one hand, and at the same time we exist in our essential nature of the witnessing principle self. We cognizes or intuits everything on the other. If we intuitively reason out and check up our own plenary experiences in toto, it would become evident that the entity of the form of the I notion, which is called Parma, Paramatru, that is cognizer in Vedantic parlance, and also Aham Pratyaya, Gocharva or Gamiha, the is in truth shining in the light of pure consciousness of Atma, which is of the innate nature of intuitive experience. Further, that I notion or Paramatma alone has been inexplicably and unconsciously misconceived or believed to be our Atma or self. The real essential nature of the pure being consciousness be bliss with the result that we are all quite naturally under a delusion, just like the fools who on seeing a round tin piece lying on the ground but shining brilliantly in the sun say the sun has fallen to the ground. We all of us cheated by the power of delusion a- as it were presumed this misconceived form of Paramatru, that is the cognizer alone, which is in truth basking in the borrowed light of pure consciousness, Sakshi Chaitanya of Atman, and apparently appear to be our own essence of being, to be the I, the real entity. As a result of this misconception, we have become susceptible to the miseries, that is shoka, and attachment, moha, which accrue from that delusion. But the real I exists as the substratum behind, so to speak, this apparent reality of I notion or the Paramatru that is cognized in all of us. Listen to the scriptural statement. One who cognizes that great all-pervasive Atma alone, who by virtue of his being of the essential nature of pure being consciousness or intuitive experience is witnessing, objecting, objectifying both the dream state and the waking state, such a one will not grieve. Here in this context too, for the I notion which exists in the form of the cognizer or Paramatru in the waking state does not possess the qualification or capacity to traverse or enter the dream state. We are saying, I saw a dream, but that witnessing pure consciousness, Sakshi Chaitanya, with whose strength or light we are all saying in the above manner. That witnessing principle alone is our real Atma, who has pervaded both these states by his essence of pure consciousness, that is intuitive experience or Sakshi Anubhava. To one who has cognized that pure consciousness, that is, who has gained that intuitive experience of the type I am, that essential nature of the pure being, consciousness bliss alone, what misery can there be? Why, for that reason, can there be grief? Now, if we see from one viewpoint, we ourselves who are the cognizers, Paramathrus are seen from another viewpoint, existing as of the essential nature of pure being, consciousness, bliss. If we analyze and separate our nature of cognizership, Paramatratva, and get ourselves established in our essential nature of pure being consciousness bliss of the self, which is our birthright and an eternal infallible fact of our life, then it is tantamount to saying that our avidya, that is ignorance or nescience, is removed and we have attained self-knowledge. In fact, the scriptural texts have described such a culmination of intuitive experiences as a result of the removal of avidya in various ways, like one who cognizes that this avidya exists in the heart will untie the knot of avidya. You showed us the other bank of this river called avidya. You alone are our Father. All such statements should necessarily be interpreted or understood in this manner alone. Vidya, Vidya Prapti, that is attainment of self-knowledge. Avidya Nivarti, that is removal of ignorance or nescience. Brahma Prapti, that is attainment of the ultimate reality or Brahma. All these are not phrases or transformations which occur stage by stage, one by one. They occur or happen all at once and together, so to speak. They should not be reckoned or discerned as events in time and space, nor with any casualty, for the ultimate reality of Brahma or Atman is an eternal entity beyond or transcending all categories and relationship of time, space, causation indeed. Just as for a person who is eating food, every morsel of food taken gives him satisfaction, strength, and removal of hunger all together at once. In that same sense, here too, it should be understood, really speaking, there is no difference or distinction whatsoever between the ultimate reality, that is Brahma or Atma, and the empirical phenomena, one entity alone, seen from different viewpoints, seem to be rather appear to have split up into the ultimate reality as also the empirical phenomena and dealing that is all in that which is night of darkness for all creatures, in that the s- samayami, that is one who has conquered his senses, A yogi is awake, that in which all creatures are awakened to the Muni or the realized soul. That is one who has attained self-realization, who is witnessing all that it is a night of darkness, that is avidya alone. Paramartha, that is the ultimate reality of Brahma or Atma, is for the common run of people like a night of utter darkness. To them, there is no possibility of any knowledge or understanding of the question what is meant by the ultimate reality and where is it. Just as to those who are groping about in utter darkness, everything seems to be of a pitch black color alone, and it is not known in the manner it is such a and such a thing, with some sense of certainty. In the same way, for those who are immersed in the utter darkness of ajnana, that is ignorance, if it is if it indicates that there exists an ultimate reality which is of undivided essence of being, of the essential nature of pure consciousness and supreme bliss. They are astounded, they feel in the manner these people, that is Vedantins, who propound in that manner, say that this world which is of full such differences is enveloped by happiness and misery, is an entity which is undivided and full of consciousness and of nature of bliss or unalloyed happiness. How can it be true? But that divided or differentiated world which the common run of people divide or differentiate in the manner this is mine, this is yours. If an action or a transaction is carried out in such and such a manner, such and such a result of root accrues, and deal with persons and things as if they are perceiving such phenomena quite clearly. Now that empirical world is not visible at all to one who is realized soul or jnani. He feels, on the other hand, in the manner when one looks everywhere, he finds one and the one reality of the essence of, rather as the very embodiment of bliss existing. Then how can it be that these people are perceiving these differences all such ways, and which entity could it be all about? It must it must be all these ignorant people are muttering or talking in their sleep or obsessed by such deluded ideas. Thus, the Vedantic philosophical dictum in this regard is what exists is one reality alone. From a different viewpoint of the unrefined or uncultured people, that very non-dual or absolute reality itself appears as the differentiated or variegated world. To the jnani, that is the one who has attained self-realization, that absolute reality alone appears as an undivided, akhanda embodiment of consciousness, that is Chinmatra. In a Vedantic parlance, it is stated that one attained self-knowledge or self-realization. It means that the misconception or avidya, that is ignorance of the nature of superimposition, is removed or has vanished. If it is said one attained Atma or selfhood, then it means that he attained self-knowledge or self-realization alone. Once again, the Vedantic dictum in this regard is the disappearance of ajnana or avidya, the attainment of self-knowledge or self-realization, finding out or searching out Atma, that is the self, attainment of Atma, that is the self. All such empirical expressions are mere misconceptions indeed, in that absolute sense or in the ultimate analysis from the Sakshi Chaitanya standpoint. To cognize or intuit per se saltum, that all this is Atma alone, of the essential nature of pure consciousness or intuitive experience per se, is the mitigation of all miseries or ills of life, and at the same time that is attainment of all those purposes or goals of human existence in toto. So here ends this video. Thank you, dear. Please, please, please subscribe my channel, like the video, share the video, comment on the video. Thank you, dear, dear, dear.